All right, guys, we're going to make a quickie here. Real quickie. Jets have made their roster cuts. A couple positions are left completely bare, but we'll see what happens with that. And a couple surprises, of course. So we're going to go through the cuts real quick. James Morgan was cut. My guess is, he'll make it through waivers. I don't think anybody's going to want to invest what we've invested in this kid so far. And he'll end up back on the practice squad. Ryan Griffin, tight end, cut. Had that little touchdown run several years back, and we never saw anything else. Ronnie Blair, a solid guy, Niners, didn't make it. Noah Dawkins, he looked like there was a chance he was going to be competing for a linebacker position, but didn't make it. Daniel Brown, another tight end. Here we go with the tight ends now. Didn't make it. Daniel Brown, just not a good blocker. And he's the kind of, it's not like he's, going to threaten you with 50, 60 catches in a season. And he's just not a good blocker. He's just not a good blocker. First shocker, Josh Adams, running back. Here we go with the whole Michael P. Ryan thing. And I don't know. You look at this one on paper and you say to yourself, watching the end of last season, because you do have to include the end of last season, the beginning of this year, preseason, and last year, the reason that we saw so much of Josh Adams and Ty Johnson, and the reason why we brought Adams back in March, offered him a contract, brought him back in, was because of what he did last year. And he did that because P. Ryan was hurt. And the reason he's been able to shine so much this year is P. Ryan was hurt. He was banged up a little bit. So we haven't seen as much from P. Ryan. A lot of P. Ryan being out is cautionary, and I'm not knocking P. Ryan. You just got to be honest about what you see. And, the smell test is Adams. And you wonder if it has to do with the fact that he's a Joe Douglas draft pick. He is a Joe Douglas draft pick. So, Joe already cut. Josh Morgan's already cut up there. That's the first year draft. And you can't be that hard on Joe in his first draft, because he's, without a doubt, made a hell of a comeback from there. But I don't get that one too much. Vincent Smith, we saw on the field last year. Why did we see Vincent Smith on the field last year? Because he had to. We had to do it. That's what I'm talking about. We'll talk about it later. That wide receiver turnaround this year is off the charts. Sherrod Newsom. I remember when Saleh was talking about him early on, he was competing for a starting position and didn't work out. Quarterback Josh Johnson. Surprise. Every time the media would question Saleh or Douglas through Saleh about the need for a veteran, they'd always say, "Oh, Josh Johnson. Josh Johnson." And what do you think about Zach after the last preseason game and being young? And you think what'd you think of Josh Johnson tonight? Because Josh Johnson played a decent preseason game against the Eagles. He's cut. Lawrence Cager. You guys know how I feel about Lawrence Cager. 5 years from now, you'll be eating dinner on Thanksgiving, and all of a sudden the announcer's going to say, "Yeah, and he's got 6 catches for 120 yards, an incredible story." Out of football all last year, they signed him, and here he is, 6 catches for 120 yards, 2 touchdowns. And then 3 weeks from then, you'll find out that team cut him too, because he just can't stay healthy. And not only that, he hasn't been able to stay healthy in the pros, nor could he in college. But he had so much talent, he keeps surviving somehow. There's a lot of talent there. Size, 6'5", maybe 6'6". Big dude. Speed. Can't stay healthy. Lamar Jackson, cornerback, cut. I am not going to beat up on him anymore. When I hear Lamar Jackson, you know what I hear about? And he's a cornerback, so I'm sure some other team will roll the dice with him. But I'll never forget what Saleh said a couple days ago. He goes, this is the worst day. You're going to be cutting guys, and some of the guys are going to grab onto another team, and for some guys, it's the end of the dream. It's the end of the road. They'll never play football in the NFL. And you think about these guys, and I remember with my boys bringing them to the field when they were like 6, 7 years old. And all of a sudden, they continue to play in high school. Then they go to college, and they play in college. And then they get drafted in the NFL or unsigned free agent. And one day a coach walks up to you and says, that's it. And you look at yourself honestly in the mirror and you say, you know what? I don't think anybody else is going to make a call here. So for some of these guys, this is it. But for one guy, it's not it, is Kenny Oboe. And that's a shocker cut. It's a shocker cut for so many reasons. I don't even know where to start. Number one, the tight end roster right now is bare, completely bare. Number two, Kenny did great. Kenny Oboe had a really good preseason. Kenny Oboe, when we picked him up after the draft, there was a lot of people, a lot of whispers like, good job. And it wasn't a good job. And then he came and had, camp. He did pretty good. So he's right in here. He says another practice squad candidate. You hope so. I wouldn't let him sneak through. If I'm a team and, a lot of my needs are fixed, I'd throw a chance on him. Elijah Campbell had a horrible preseason. And then we have, let's roll through these guys fast. Offensive line, Grant Hermans. Wide receiver, DJ Montgomery. Safety, JT Hassel. Offensive line, Jimmy Murray. Then we have two defensive line guys, Hamill, Carr Rashid, and Jeremiah Valuga. Two offensive linemen, Corey Levin, David Moore. Defensive end, Aaron Adio. Two linebackers, Camilo Effler and Delshawn Phillips. Defensive line, Tanzel Smart, and offensive line, Isaiah Williams. So, there goes that. You hope these guys, a lot of these guys, that last list that I read off, I'd say a good percentage of these names you may never hear again. And it's sad, it's sad. When, these guys have put in so much work, and somehow, some way, they got invited to this camp, and what are you going to do? Chris Herndon, Vikings, Jets get 4th round pick, and we give them back a 6th round pick. So the Jets end up with 2 4th round picks, and the Vikings end up with 2 6th round picks, and that is next year's draft. So next year, here we go, baby. I don't know if we have any more 4th round picks, but 2 first, 2 second, 2 firsts, 2 second, 1/3, 2 fourths. You look at something like that and you say to yourself, And that's it with Chris Herndon. I actually had the video pause there for a second, so I'm doing this in 2 parts. I'm going to have to merge these together. I am sorry about that little mix-up there. The crackling noise is unbelievable. Okay, the actual Jet roster as it stands right now is Zach Wilson and Mike White at quarterback. Surprise there. We thought we were going to get Josh Johnson, right? Running back, Tevin Coleman, Ty Johnson, Michael Carter, and Josh Adams? No. Michael Pirine. To me, surprise. If I'm going to be honest, between the end of last year and the beginning of this year, preseason, Josh Adams. And the reason it was the end of last year for Josh Adams is because Michael Pirine got hurt. and missed some games. And he's been held out a little bit caution this year. So we've got to see Josh Adams shine like a son of a gun this preseason game. And, you just wonder if it's because one guy's a draft pick and one guy isn't. We liked Josh Adams so much last year that we went and re-signed him in March, offered him a contract in March. And here we are cutting him. And here it says, hopefully he'll make it to the practice squad. I highly doubt it this year. I could be wrong, but we'll see. One of the great overhauls of all time, the Jets wide receivers this year: Corey Davis, Jamison Crowder, Elijah Moore, Keelan Cole, Denzel Mims, Jeff Smith, and Braxton Berrios. Compare that to last year, and what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? It really is amazing. It really is amazing when you compare one to the other. It's just an incredible turnaround. Joe Douglas deserves a lot of credit. And then we get to the tight end position, and now we get into waiver wire. Maybe the 4th round pick that he got for Herndon to pick up a tight end. But the Jets are going to have to do something at tight end. They're not going to go into the season with Tyler Croft and Trevin Wesco. They're not going to. First of all, Wesco they've been using sort of in that fullback position. And as a blocker, but they're going to do something at the tight end position. Offensive line, the makeover is, I'm going to say, when I say the makeover is 50% done, I don't mean 50% of the line. I mean, when you talk about the depth that you want. Nobody just realized Cameron Clark. I know he was put on the injured, but it's just amazing. Here's a guy last year we got, and a lot of us really thought he converted over to guard. He's going to be a main player. Talk about not seeing anything now going into his second year. Anyway, offensive line: Mekhi Becton, Elijah Vera Tucker, Connor McGovern, Greg Van Roten, Morgan Moses, George Font, Dan Feeney, Chuma Adoga, and Connor McDermott, not to be mixed up with McGovern. It's about 50% done. And again, I don't mean 50% of the starters. I'd say the starters are 80% done. You want to leave Van Roten out of it at right guard, and I would say we'll take a look at what McGovern does this year. But he really believes that this offense tailors to his play. Again, what I've discovered, and I've come to this conclusion with preseason promises, whether it's the Unicorn Herndon last year or I just play. Don't tell me things because I believe everything you tell me. You tell me this offense fits your scheme, and I'm just all of a sudden saying we've got a great center then now. So just go out there and play. It's okay. Defensive line. Big surprise here at the end. Very, very happy I am. I like this guy. In fact, he was one of my first videos. Quentin Williams. Sheldon Rankins. Foley Fatakasi. I know how to pronounce it. I've pronounced it a million times, but I don't have my glasses. Fatakasi. Shaq Lawson. John Franklin Myers. Bryce Huff. Calling out a very consistent Bryce Huff. Nathan Shepard, Jabari Zanuga, and Jonathan Marshall. A lot of Jet fans were kind of pissed off that with the last pick in the draft, the Jets decided to pick an interior defensive lineman, the one position that the Jets were actually in very good shape with. But when you're picking a 6th pick, to me now you're looking for talent. So that's what I was hoping I would see when I saw his tape. And then I saw his tape. And then I came to the conclusion after watching his tape that he's got a motor and a half. Like that's a full motor topped with a half a motor. And Sheldon Richardson came to mind. When Sheldon Richardson was drafted, I went to take a look at all his stuff. And I remember after watching his stuff for like a half hour, I just thought, the one thing he just got a motor, man. It's like whether he's on the line of scrimmage and getting no penetration at all, he is still digging. And Jonathan Marshall spent a lot of time deep in the backfield. And if they don't go out and make any other pickups, any other moves, then there's a chance you see Jonathan Marshall get some playing time at any time this year. I do believe that there'll be some happiness that Jonathan Marshall, and I think that's why he's stuck, because he does get deep. You got to be so careful in these days, don't you? What words you use? He's a poor man's version of Quentin Williams type. Poor man, very poor man's version. But he has that kind of play in him. You know, big dude, not an end guy, not a Lawson, but a big dude that gets deep into the backfield. Creates a lot of problems back there. Linebacker position scares the you-know-what out of me. C.J. Mosley, Jared Davis, Blake Cashman, Nazir, and Jamie Sherwood. Nazir, by the way, I'm sticking with Nazir. I go to pronounce it. I get it right 3 times. I get it wrong once. C.J. Mosley 2 years ago. Blah, 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 blah. Cliche. Having the best game of his life. Having the best game any other middle linebacker the Jets' history has ever had. Fumble recovery, interception for a touchdown. You know, tackling everybody all over the place. And gets hurt. And we don't see him for a long time. 2 years. And now he's back. And I'm telling you right now, those linebackers that I just read out, not because they're bad, but because how raw the whole thing is. If C.J. Mosley were to go down this year, it's a lost cause, man. It's I don't know how you recover from it. I do not know how you recover from that. And that's it. That is drastic what I just said. I understand that. But, you know, I have a lot of faith in Nazir. I think he's going to be a really good ball player. Sherwood has looked like, you know, fantastic to horrible to fantastic to and that's what you're going to get at these young kids, especially they're transitioning, the transition they're making. You know, this is a huge transition these guys are making. And you saw the difference last week against the Eagles with these two guys when Mosley wasn't in the game. You know, they sort of got hit in the first two. So, got to stay healthy. Cornerbacks, Bless Austin, Bryce Huff. That's a mistake. Bless Austin, Michael Carter II. Javelin Guidry, Brandon Eccles, Jason Pinnock. Boy, oh boy, what a lot of kids, huh? Justin Hardy and Isaiah Dunn. Another wonderful story. Isaiah Dunn goes through the draft, does not get drafted. And a lot of people thought he would. But he does not get drafted. So the Jets call him up and say, Isaiah, we know you're disappointed. You were not drafted, but we want you. And not only do we want you, this is how much you're expecting when a team goes after an undrafted guy. We're going to give you this. And they offered him even more money to come. So the Jets really wanted him. So when you do that and you spend more money because you really want a guy and he ends up sticking, great story. Love that story. Good stuff. Safety position. It just keeps getting thinner and thinner. It's like this so far has been like the top of my head, right? My head. You have the defensive line, like right here, right? Then you have linebacker. Oh, it's thinning out a little bit. Then you have cornerback. Oh, then you have safety. Marcus May, LaMarcus Joyner, Ashton Davis. I mean, it's not a bad group. If healthy and everybody's ready to roll, it's okay. But the problem is that Marcus May has been fine. He's healthy. Joyner has not. And Ashton Davis, I don't know what we're going to get out of him in week 1, if anything. I don't see how, but I know Saleh, as of yesterday, maybe today he ruled him out. As of yesterday, he had not ruled him out. I don't see how you're going to get much out of him. So that's that. And then you have special teams. You have Brandon Mann, the man with the golden foot. That ain't so golden so far. He was not undrafted. He was a pick. We used a draft pick on a punter because we were told of these amazingly long 85-yard punts, and we have seen nothing close. But and he had a horrible punt against the Eagles. Horrible. When you're kicking inside the 20, inside the 10, trying to land one inside the 10, and you get off a low kick, so low that the guy decides to return it and brings it back 52 yards, you do that during the regular season, you lose a game. If you're playing a field position, I'm not gonna harp on it. He's got to do better this year. And you know what? We've seen signs of him being a good quality, smart kicker, great tackler, tough as nails. I just want him to take it to the next level this year. And I don't even mean distance. Matt Amendola, I think there is a chance that Joe Douglas did it. That's all I'm going to say about that. I think there's a chance that he did it. I was not happy. I made a video of it with what he did last year and so far what he had done this year. But then again, I did not expect Amendola to look as good as he did. Yes, several of those field goals were cutting a little close there with the post, but at the same time, I thought it went off again. At the same time, his kicks were true, straight as an arrow, and distance and a half, man. He had that 145-yarder that was about halfway up the netting. So there is a possibility. Now, you never know. Week 1 comes along, these kids get out there, and they just show their youth and inexperience. But so far, he's looked good. And then our long snapper is Thomas Hennessy, the after dinner brandy, and that is it. Let's see what's wrong with this video. I apologize. I am piecing 2 videos together. This has been the worst night that I've ever had making videos. And it is now, I started doing this at 8:40, and it is 10:57 right now. 10:57. It usually takes me to do a video and upload it, write what I want to write. It usually takes me less than 30 minutes. If it's, let's say, a 20-minute video. And this one is going to be about a 22-minute video when you combine the two. So I hope it was worth it. If you have not seen the movie Hail Mary, it is down there. Perhaps I'll put it in here, so when this video comes to the end, you'll see it. You may want to watch it. It's a classic. All I will tell you is this: is that the reason I made it is that when I saw the Hail Mary and watched the replay, I lost it. The blame game, baby. That's all I'll say. The blame game is a wonderful thing. Guys, have a great week. I will keep you updated as a week. I'm sure I will be on the next 24 to 48 hours to tell you, the Jets picked up a tight end. The Jets picked up a defensive lineman. The Jets picked up a linebacker. There's going to be something go on. The Jets have to – this roster needs a little more blood, like real blood, It needs another heart, perhaps 2. About 4 lungs, 4 eyes, you know what I'm saying. So that's it. Have a great day. Thank you so much for being here. The views are blowing me away. I'm not going to go off on that again. It's just blowing me away, the amount of people that are viewing. And it's really appreciated. It really is. Have a great day, guys. Thank you. And girls, thank you very much.